The rate of star formation in our Milky Way is much higher than Andromeda. Indeed, Andromeda only produces one solar mass per year, compared to 3 to 5 solar masses for the Milky Way. The rate of novae in the Milky Way is also double that of the Andromeda Galaxy. This suggests that Andromeda once experienced a great star formation phase, but is now in a relative state of quiet, whereas the Milky Way is experiencing more active star formation. Should this continue, the luminosity of the Milky Way may eventually overtake that of the Andromeda Galaxy. Hi everyone, Vega here, and in today's video we venture far away from home with a closer look at the Andromeda Galaxy, and indeed the dark in between. So let's get to it. When Nicolaus Copernicus, a Renaissance mathematician, astronomer and Catholic canon, formulated a model of the universe that placed the Sun rather than the Earth at its centre, the world was in uproar. In a somewhat ironic twist of fate, Copernicus died the year this major work was published, which saved him from religious leaders, who condemned his heliocentric view of the universe as heresy. In a similar way, until 1924, we still thought grandiosely that our own dear Milky Way contained all or most of the stars in existence. We were, however, about to be knocked off our egotistical little pedestal once again, when the astronomer Edwin Hubble announced what was then thought of as the spiral nebula Andromeda was actually a galaxy, and that our Milky Way was just one of many galaxies in the universe. Our entire understanding of the universe was about to be turned upside down. The once former nebula was now known as the Andromeda Galaxy. The galaxy itself is located approximately 2.5 million light years away from Earth, and unsurprisingly is in the constellation of Andromeda. Approximately 220,000 light years across, Andromeda is thought to be slightly larger than the Milky Way, although recently this has been debated more intensely. Estimated to contain over 1 trillion stars, which is significantly more than the number of stars in our galaxy, the galaxy is also home to a central bulge of stars and a massive black hole in its centre, which is estimated to be as many as 100 million times more massive than the Sun, which makes it an incredible 25 times more massive than our own Sagittarius A star. It seems Andromeda is indeed a hungry galaxy. That said, and as an avid sci-fi horror fan since I was a child, I've always been interested and intrigued by the vast dark void that exists between Andromeda and ourselves. This void spans over 150 million light years in diameter, and is a region of space where the density of matter is significantly lower than the surrounding regions, resulting in an incredibly sparsely populated area of space. Despite its size, the void is relatively unknown and not well studied compared to other regions of space. I suppose it's difficult to know exactly what to study, and the exact cause of the void is not well understood. The Milky Way and Andromeda Galaxy form part of a larger galactic group, known as the Local Group, which also includes several smaller galaxies such as the Large and Small Magellanic Clouds. Gravitational interactions between these galaxies may have caused the void to form in the space between the Milky Way and the Andromeda Galaxies. Another factor that may have contributed to the formation of this void is of course dark matter. Dark matter bizarrely does not interact with light, making it invisible to our telescopes. As things stand, dark matter is estimated to make up approximately 85% of the matter in the universe, and is thought to play a significant role in the formation and evolution of galaxies, and perhaps indeed even voids. It's thought that gravitational effects of dark matter may have contributed to the formation of the void by pulling matter away from the region between the Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies many eons ago. Despite its relative emptiness, this local void is not entirely devoid of matter. It is indeed home to many wandering lone stars that for whatever reason achieved escape velocity for one of the surrounding galaxies. Several dwarf galaxies also inhabit the space, including the Pisces dwarf, Tucana dwarf and the Cetus dwarf galaxies. These galaxies are much smaller than the Milky Way or Andromeda, and may have been pulled into the void by gravitational effects of larger galaxies surrounding us in our local group. Space fans will likely be aware that in the future, the Milky Way and Andromeda Galaxy are expected to collide and merge into a single galaxy. This collision has been predicted for several decades, and recent observations have confirmed that it is indeed likely to occur in approximately 4 billion years. Of course, this may seem a long time, but it's relatively soon in astronomical terms. The collision between the Milky Way and Andromeda is expected to have a significant impact on both galaxies. As they merge, the gravitational forces between them will cause stars and gas to be flung out into space, creating a burst of star formation. And this burst of star formation is expected to be so intense that it could create as many as 1 trillion new stars in the merged galaxy. Indeed, and equally important is the fact that we've come to a consensus that the new galaxy will probably be named Milkdromeda. The collision will eventually mean that there is an impact on the supermassive black holes at the centres, and as these galaxies merge, the black holes will eventually spiral together in a deathly dance, and indeed merge into a single supermassive black hole. This merger is expected to release a massive amount of energy in the form of gravitational waves, which could be detectable by future gravitational wave observatories. Despite the potential for destruction and chaos caused by the collision, the merger of the Milky Way and Andromeda is not expected to affect our solar system. You may imagine that stars will smash into each other, but the reverse is more the case. The gulf in between stars is so vast that even in the event of two such gigantic structures merging, the probability of two stars colliding, or indeed even just coming close enough to gravitationally disturb a system, is statistically very low. That said, and for speculation's sake, the fate of the Earth and the solar system in the event of a collision is currently unknown. Before the galaxies fully merged, it's likely that the solar system would be ejected from the Milky Way, or indeed interestingly perhaps hop across and join the Andromeda Galaxy, which would certainly make life interesting for our little tiny corner of the universe. Andromeda is approaching the Milky Way at about 110 km per second, and that makes the Andromeda Galaxy one of only about 100 observable blue-shifted galaxies, and these will make up our local cluster as the universe ages in the coming eons of time. It has a sideways velocity with respect to the Milky Way that's much smaller than the approaching velocity, and because of this we know that it's expected to collide directly with the Milky Way. Eventually the galaxies will merge to form a giant elliptical galaxy, or perhaps even a large disk galaxy. Such events are frequent amongst galaxies and galaxy groups. Andromeda is a beautiful spiral galaxy some 2.5 million light years from our Earth. Fast approaching us, it still has to traverse the dark void that lies between, that theoretically contains vast amounts of dark matter to which we know little, if indeed anything at all. One day in the future, our solar system will run the gauntlet and risk smashing into another system, but the likelihood is that our system will endure. Given the 4 billion year time frame that this will take to complete, it's probable by then our civilization will have left Earth, which will now be either engulfed by or subjected to a rapidly swelling red giant sun. Maybe by then we'll be watching from afar, contemplating our next steps as a species, while our solar system and indeed galaxy evolve into their new shapes and forms. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you would like to support the channel further, you could consider buying me a coffee, and I'll link this in the description. Thanks to those of you who have already done so. If you'd like any videos or subjects brought to life, don't forget to let me know in the comments below, and perhaps next week your idea could show up. Take really good care of yourselves, and look after your friends and family well, and I'll see you on the next one.